It was a cold and silent autumn night in the quiet town of Ashville. The streets were deserted, except for the glow of streetlights reflecting on the rain-soaked sidewalks. The sky, clear and full of stars, seemed to hold ancient secrets. Among the shadows cast by the alleys, one figure stood out. Ethan, a tall man with pale skin and deep blue eyes, walked calmly, hiding a secret as old as time. He was a vampire, an immortal who had roamed the world for centuries, always searching for something he had yet to find. Ethan could smell the city, the fragrance of night-blooming flowers, the damp breeze from the rain, and the scent of humans sleeping in their homes. He had learned to live among them unnoticed, always lurking. But that night, something was different. A new scent, a presence he had never felt before, caught his attention. Something inside him, dormant for so long, awakened. Samantha, a young woman full of life, was the owner of that presence that intrigued him. Samantha was 25 years old, working at a flower shop in the city center. Her blonde hair gently cascaded down her shoulders, and her brown eyes shone with constant curiosity. She loved flowers and everything they represented: life, beauty, and fragility. Her passion for detail made her different, a person who saw the world with more depth than most. That night, she decided to stay late at the flower shop, preparing arrangements for a local event. As Samantha closed the shop, she felt a slight cold breeze, and suddenly, that sensation. Someone was watching her. She quickly turned around, and there was Ethan, standing across the street, his eyes fixed on her. For a brief moment, Samantha felt fear, but she was soon overtaken by an inexplicable calm. He was different from anyone she had ever seen. "Good evening," Ethan said, his voice as soft as a whisper carried by the breeze. Samantha hesitated but replied politely, trying to maintain her composure. "Good evening." In the days that followed, Ethan and Samantha crossed paths several times, almost as if fate was pulling them together. Ethan, who had always lived in the shadows, began to feel something for Samantha that he hadn't felt in a long time. She was different. Her presence ignited a flame in him that he believed had long since been extinguished. He watched her from a distance, intrigued by her sweetness and inner strength. Samantha, too, began to notice Ethan's presence in her life, even though he always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. She found herself thinking about him, wondering what he did and why he seemed so enigmatic. One night, after a long day of work, she found Ethan standing at the door of the flower shop. "Do you believe in magic?" Ethan asked, a discreet smile on his face. Samantha laughed, thinking the question was strange. "Sometimes, I think the world has more mysteries than we can see," she replied, her eyes sparkling in the soft light of the street lamps. Ethan smiled, knowing there was something special about her. "And in vampires," he added, his voice lowering to an almost secretive tone. Samantha laughed again, not realizing the weight of the question. "In books, anything is possible," she replied, unaware that her reality was about to change completely. In the weeks that followed, Ethan and Samantha spent more time together. He took her to places she had never seen, showing her the hidden corners of the city, and with each moment they spent together, their connection grew stronger. Ethan knew he was falling in love with Samantha, but something tormented him. He hadn't yet revealed his dark secret. One night, as they walked along the riverbank, Ethan suddenly stopped. "I need to tell you something, Samantha," he said, with a seriousness she had never seen in him before. Samantha stopped as well, her heart beating faster. "What is it?" she asked, concerned. Ethan took a deep breath and looked into Samantha's eyes. "I'm not like other people. I'm a vampire." Samantha was shocked, unable to process what he had just said. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw the truth. He wasn't joking. "Are you serious?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Ethan nodded. "I've lived for centuries, alone, always in the shadows. But you brought something back in me that I thought was lost. I've fallen in love with you." Samantha felt tears welling in her eyes. She didn't know what to say, but something in her heart told her that Ethan was being sincere. I feel the same way," she confessed, her voice soft and full of emotion. But the love between a vampire and a human was dangerous. Ethan knew this, and Samantha soon discovered that he wasn't alone in the world. There were others like him, vampires who despised humans and would not accept their relationship. Damien, Ethan's older brother, was the most dangerous of them all. He led a clan of ancient vampires, and when he found out about Samantha, he decided that she had to be eliminated. "You're betraying our kind," Damien shouted, confronting Ethan one dark night. "She's just a human, weak and insignificant." "I don't care," Ethan shouted back, his heart full of rage and desperation. "I love her, Damien. I won't let you hurt her." Damien and his followers refused to accept Ethan's words. They planned an attack, swift and deadly. One night, while Samantha was waiting for Ethan in her shop, the door was broken down. Damien's vampires stormed in, their eyes glowing with malice. Samantha tried to escape, but she was easily captured. "So, you're the human who bewitched my brother?" Damien sneered as he approached her. "He made a terrible mistake getting involved with you." Ethan arrived just in time to see Samantha being taken. Desperation consumed him, and he faced Damien with all the strength he had. "Let her go," he shouted, his voice echoing through the empty streets. The battle that followed was fierce. Ethan fought with everything he had, but Damien's vampires were many, and they were relentless. Samantha, trapped and powerless, watched the fight with a heavy heart, fearing for Ethan's life. At the height of the battle, Ethan was gravely wounded. He fell to the ground, bleeding, and Samantha screamed his name. "Ethan!" She ran to his side, kneeling next to him. He looked at her with his deep blue eyes, now filled with pain. "I love you, Samantha," he whispered, his voice weak. "I love you too," Samantha replied, tears streaming down her face. Damien approached, watching the scene with disdain. "If you truly love him," he said to Samantha, "then prove it. Leave him and never come back." Samantha looked at Ethan, her heart breaking. She knew this was the only way to save him. "I will," she said, her voice trembling. "If it means he'll live, I will." Ethan tried to protest, but he was too weak. "No," he murmured, but Samantha had already made her decision. She leaned down and kissed his forehead gently. "I will always love you," she said, before standing and walking away. That night, Samantha left Ashville, knowing she would never see Ethan again. But the love they shared, the connection that transcended time and life, would never be forgotten. Ethan, devastated by the loss, promised himself that he would find a way to bring Samantha back into his life. And so, under the starlit sky, the love between Ethan and Samantha became a legend. A tale of sacrifice, courage, and eternal love, told for generations in Ashville, always remembered as a story that proved true love can overcome even the greatest obstacles.